How's it going, everybody? This is Beat the Bush. Today I'm going to talk about how you can use Fusion 360 to design some random part that you want and then 3D print it. Recently I designed a cup holder for the Helinox Camping Chair Zero. Here it is. It's a really lightweight chair and I designed it so that it would fit over here. It's not quite even, it's slightly tilted because I got the angle slightly wrong. So today I'm going to go over Fusion 360, which is a freeware program for non-commercial use. So you can go around, have a very, very powerful 3D software. I remember many years ago, even if you want to design anything that is solid modeling, you would have to pay thousands of dollars. Now you can get it for free. I'm going to open up my Helinox chair file over here. And with 3D modeling, the first thing that you want to do is be able to change your views. You push the middle mouse button and you can pan it, right? If you hold on to the left shift button and also the middle mouse button, you can rotate it around. This is very helpful if you want to look at the bottom of the cup holder. Look at the right, kind of peek through some holes or anything like that. And then you can roll the wheel to zoom in and out. I'm going to close out of this thing for now because we want to create a brand new part out of nothing. So I'm going to click the file icon here, very standard, new design. And the first thing you want to do is create a 2D cross section. The way 3D modeling works is you want to create solids. How do you create solids? You create a sort of like a 2D profile and then you extrude that into a solid. So let's do that. I'm gonna click the very first icon here on the left side, right underneath solid over here, and I click create sketch. 3 planes show up. I'm gonna click one of the plane. You can start at any plane you want really, and if I click on that plane, it's gonna zoom in on that plane, zoom in a little bit, and I'm gonna create a surface. Under surface, you can create a square, a circle, some weird point spline thing. I'm just gonna start with something simple, which is a circle. I'm gonna put it in any random spot. And as soon as I release the mouse button, you can see it says 26.025. It just happens to be whatever diameter that your mouse pointed at. But you can enter in your diameter. Let's just say I want 25 millimeter. I click enter. It locks in at 25, but then it's not locked in anywhere in that plane. So if you want to do it the lazy way, you just want to plop down a circle, sure, go ahead, do that. Or you can be more accurate and just kind of pick the right spot and then draw the circle. In this case, I just drew it anywhere. I'm gonna add a sketch dimension. You can sketch. I'm going to click the center of the circle and then the center of the 2 axes over here. Different 3D software works differently. Some of them you can click like the circumference of the circle and then click one of the axes, not just a point, and then it'll create this dimension. Just experiment with where you can click, and then you can see I can have like a dimension over here. It says 17 millimeters right now. I can also do it where it's kind of like, like a diagonal distance from one point to another. How far should that be? Well, I want it to go from the distance from the x-axis. So I want this to be 12.5 millimeter, 12.5. I'm gonna add in another one from the point to the center of those axes, 12.5. And you can see this circle is just snugged up right against the 2 axes, it's kind of have it nicely fit like this, and everything is constrained. So now you want to extrude it, right? But you don't see an icon. Part of the user interface is sometimes you gotta get used to it, right? So with Fusion 360, you gotta finish the sketch. Over here, this big green button over here, you finish it because you say you're completely done. Okay, I'm done with it. And then now all these other options appear in this on the top bar over here. You can, the most easiest thing is to extrude. You can do other things like revolve. You can take this circle and revolve it into kind of like a toroid. You can create circles, you can like multiply them, whatever. But let's just do the very, very simple case of extruding. Once you click extrude, it's gonna go, okay, which profile do you want to extrude? I want to extrude this particular surface, so I click on it. Other 3D software, by the way, sometimes it would automatically know you want to extrude that surface because that's the last surface that you kind of messed with. This one, you have to pick it. So, okay, go and pick it. And then, let me see, did I pick it? Okay, now I picked it. The profile plane, you want to start it at some point and then end it somewhere. Which side to go? Is it one side? Do you want to extrude it both sides? Let's just do one side for now. Extent type, distance, which is, you know, do you want it to go 1 millimeter, 10 millimeter, right? This is pretty self-explanatory. Do you want to extrude it all the way to an object? So let's say you have a solid here and you have an object somewhere here, but you don't know the exact distance. You just want it to go all the way over there and touch it. Then you can select this surface and it'll go all the way up to that surface. So, or you can do to all, the third option over here. I think through all is better as a cut because you have a solid body here and you want to go through all of it. But it doesn't make as much sense when you're extruding a solid body here. So let's just do what 10 millimeters here. 10 millimeter, you can even taper the angle. So, you know, like as you extrude it, do you want it to kind of go smaller and smaller or bigger and bigger? Different ways of modeling a solid body. And okay, new body. But right now you can't really see like which way it's going. So you can, you know, use the shift and middle mouse button and kind of rotate it and go, okay, now it's 10 millimeter, great. You can see that it is a solid and you just click OK and voila, it's a solid now. Pretty cool, right? I'm gonna move it right in the center, shift and kind of rotate it around. I kind of like to do this kind of so you can kind of look at it every which way. And on the top right here, there's a view thing, right? Do you want to go to home, which is, I think this is isometric view, kind of like a 3D view. Just think of it as 3D view. You want a top view? Look at the top. You want to look at the side, right? You know, you just click those little buttons here and, you know, the top right, the top, and then you can click these little rotate thing. You can rotate it. Okay, whichever angle that you want to look at it, it's fine, right? So now let's say we want to do something a little bit more fancier, right? Let's just cut a hole into this. Rather than cut a circular hole, let's cut a square hole. So I click that surface and then, yeah, it's very important. You have to click which surface that you want to draw on first. And then we create a sketch. I click the sketch. And now let's say I want to create a square. Under solid, I click a 2-point rectangle. I think there's like other ways you can create a rectangle too. But let's just start with 2-point. I just draw some random size here. Okay, I'm gonna go 10 millimeter, enter. And then let's just do what we were doing before where we click, select a sketch dimension. I click one edge of this square and the axes over here, 77.5 would center this. You know, do some mental calculation here. And the other edge to that square, 7.5. So this happens to be exactly where I want it to be. And let's click finish sketch again. And now that we have this little square, it's not part of any solid right now. We want to cut a hole in it. But you don't really want to select hole. You want to select extrude. And then select the cut feature of extrude. Cut feature right here at the bottom on the operation. But we will also need to select the profile, which profile we want to take action on. I select this square. Profile plane, this is which profile you want to do this operation on, which is this square. Which direction, one side, but the distance, okay. I want it to through to all. And I want to do to all of this solid on the other side. So as soon as I click the other side, you can see, oh, it's kind of red over here. It's gonna cut through that. I'm gonna go okay. And it cut through this thing magically. It's pretty neat. And you know, I click the shift and the mouse button and I can move the mouse around and I can look at the bottom, you know, pretty nice. Now, one of the other things that you might want to do is also to fillet the edges. you want to round things off, okay? So I'm gonna click this under sheet metal. I don't think this is a sheet metal thing, but it's, you know, same thing. You can click fillet and just go to town and click all the edges that you want to fillet. I want to click this edge, this edge, this edge, this edge, and then also I'm going to flip it around. It's not going to forget which edge I picked. This edge, this edge, this edge, this edge, this edge. So I click 10 edges all together, and then now I'm going to say, okay, I want 1 millimeter radius. This is radius, so it takes, you got to know that it's asking for radius over here, or else if it's like, what is it, diameter, or most of the time it's asking for radius. So it gives you a simulation of what it's going to look like if you happen to pick 1 millimeter. Yeah, this looks good to me, and I click OK. So now you got this solid here. Great, right? This is all I want to show you guys. It's like you think of some random solid, you want to create it, boom, you know, and now you want to print it out. So Fusion 360 is a little funny because it wants you to save it to their cloud because it's a freeware after all. Let's just save it to the cloud first. Test coin 2, okay? And then now we want to export it, okay? Because 3D printers require a certain type of file. Apparently under here it also has a 3D print option. I think maybe if you're able to connect it to Fusion 360, you have something more sophisticated, but I don't have that because my 3D printer actually uses Cura Maker or something like that. So I need to export to STL file over here. So I got STL, I select STL file. Let's just say it's 2 in case I have some other thing. I click export, and now it's going to say test coin 2 version 2 XTL, and it seems like this is doing all the calculation on their servers. It's not a local calculation, so that's what it is. I mean, because it's free, you know, you kind of deal with it. So the STL file is created now. You can actually pull up this STL file on Cura Maker, and then, you know, whatever print profile that you need for your particular 3D printer. I recently learned that on the Cura Ultra Maker, I think, you can actually select an option to have support beams automatically generated for you. So this is for like when some solids are kind of overhanging in mid-air. You can't print in mid-air, right? But it can print sort of at an angle. Like if you come with a base that is, you know, let's say yay big, you can actually grow it bigger and bigger, but there is a limit to how fast you can grow it. You can't grow it diagonally like this, right? But you can definitely grow it a little bit at a time. So if you grow it too fast, that means you need some kind of support structure to keep that plastic from falling off. So this is like a feature that you can add in that you don't have to actually think about when you're creating your 3D solid. You just create whatever you want, right? And then when you go to print it, you generate those support columns. This is all I want to cover for now. I believe anybody, you know, just as long as you have a medium powerful computer, you can download Fusion 360 for free, use it personally. You can go, I want to create something, whatever that you want. You can just 3D model it. Even if you don't have a 3D printer, you can farm it out, send these files out to somewhere. You pay them a small fee, and then they'll mail you the 3D printed pieces back. Creating a 3D part that you just kind of thought up of your own, it's actually very, very rewarding. It's actually very, very useful as well. I do have to warn that when you 3D print stuff, it's not actually food safe most of the time. So you actually want to print something that that is just kind of like hold stuff. It's a lot harder to print something that is load bearing because you need to make it strong enough. When you 3D print stuff, you also can choose how much fill each part has, right? Because you're not going to print this in absolute solid, right? It's not going to be 100% filled up with plastic, because if you do, it's going to cost a lot. You can definitely do that, but then most of the time people like to have a percentage fill. This one I printed with the 30% fill, so you know the entire solid is not exactly all the plastic that I use. It's only 30% that's filled in inside, but then the outer edge is solid, of course. So that's all I want to talk about for today. I hope this helps you guys out. Whoever is out there trying to learn 3D modeling, it's a lot easier than you think. You just create a 2D profile, extend it, and then you just rinse and repeat and just keep on adding to it. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe for more. The support beam sort of failed right here, so then I had to remove a few and added my own so that it's level with the current printing level. And it turned out it worked out because it was able to print this top side right here. So this looks usable, I think, but it looks a little weak because it was only 20-30% fill in the solid areas over here, just like that.